How to figure out the chords to a song in less than 5 minutes. This is IkeGuitar. Let's talk about it. What's going on, guys? IkeGuitar here. Now, when I was a beginning guitar player, maybe some of you guys can relate. When I was first starting out, I'd find a bunch of really cool songs that I wanted to learn how to play. Maybe not part for part, but definitely the chords to the song. And I'd try to go online, maybe ultimateguitar.com or YouTube somewhere, try to figure out how do you play that song. Well, today in this video, guys, I'm going to show you all how I go about figuring out a song without using any help except for my ear and my instrument. Now, let's be honest here, the applications of this concept are broad. They actually are going to help you as you become a better guitar player overall. Being able to hear music and figure out the chords in a very quick and precise manner can help you win the gig. And sometimes things get changed up in mid-sets when you're doing an audition or doing a set with someone else. And it's important to know how to go about finding the new chords should you ever need them. Now, there are some exceptions to these concepts. We're not talking about complex music like jazz, prog, metal, jazz fusion, classical music. No, we're talking about run-of-the-mill, top 40, pop, rock, Americana, country, those kinds of music that use the generic diatonic scale in the music. Spoiler. Now, the first step to figure out the chords to any of these songs is to first find Tonal Center. And what do I mean by that? I need to figure out what key the song is in. Now, the best way to figure out a key, in my opinion, you have to play and know your major scale. I would take the major scale, go up the neck, try to find the one note that sounds like it's the one, the tonal center. In most songs, it's going to be in a sharp key like D or G or A. But some pop songs are in flat keys like B flat and F. So it's up to you guys to know your major scale and to go through the neck and figure out what major scale it is. Now, if you're finding yourself in a minor style song, you just find the minor center. For example, if you're in the key of A minor, you find that A minor, you're like, oh man, I hear that A minor scale really strong in this song. Well, then you know that the key is in C because A minor is the relative minor of C major. Now, once you figure out the tonal center, you know the key of the song. For example, it's in the key of G major. If you found out the key of the song was in the key of G, well, that's pretty simple to play on the guitar, but what chords are in the key of G major? Well, first off, you have the 1, and that's G. And then you have to go through the harmonized major scale. Now, you can look that up on YouTube or Google or whatever, but the harmonized major scale is just the chords that are built around the notes in G major. So we know that G major is G, A, B, C, D, F sharp, and then G again, okay? So what we want to do is we want to build chords around those notes. So as an example, G is the 1, we have A minor as the 2, B minor as the 3, C as the 4, D is the 5, E minor is the 6, and then F sharp half diminished, which you'll never use in a top 40 pop song, is the 7. Well, there you have the chords for the entire key of G, and then it just means trying to figure out which chords go where in the song. There's nothing scientific unless you want to get into note structure and the melodic structure of a song, but really, when you feel the chords about to change, you change. If you feel a bit sad coming from a chord, you're probably one into a minor chord. If you go back up into a uplifty kind of mode, it's more likely a major chord. So understand those sounds in order to help you guys find the chords. Some of the differences are going to be in those dominant chords, which only really account for the 5th. So for example, in the key of G, the dominant 7 will be the D7. Sometimes they throw the 7 out there on some of these chord tones, and it can really introduce some spice into music, but typically you'll only find that in songs from the 60s through the 80s. Typically after the mid-80s, people stopped using the dominant 7 chords in most pop songs, but you may come across it, so be aware of that. Now, there might come a time in a song where the song modulates or it changes keys. In order to figure out a key change in a song, you kind of have to understand where the new tonal center begins, find that tonal center, and find that junction chord. Maybe it's the 5 of 5, maybe it's the 4 of 5. I'm not going to get totally deep in that right now, but if the song jumps from the key of G to the key of E, you have to find out where the key of G ends and where E begins, and then figure out what those chords are so that you can change keys in turn. Now, once you figure out those basic chords, then you can add more inflection. You can add color tones to it. So, for example, if you have a minor chord, you can make it a minor 7, a minor 9, a minor 11. If it's a major chord, you can do major 6, a suspended fourth chord, a suspended 2 chord, or whatever. It all depends on how the song sounds. And even if you use a straight up 1-3-5 or a 1-flat-3-5 minor major kind of sound, there may be some things in the sound you're like, man, I really want to accentuate this note he's singing or something that the keyboard is playing. And sometimes those are the color tones. You can figure out the chords beyond just the generic tonal chords, but for now, just focus on learning to find tonal center, find the key signature, and then finding those chords for your song. Guys, thank you so much for watching my video on how to find the chords to nearly any song. If you like this video, please consider subscribing. I make videos all the time. I'm sorry I couldn't use an actual song in my example. If I use a real song, I end up getting blocked, and that's no fun. But go and play a song on your radio, on the Spotify Top 40 list. Try to figure it out. Find that tonal center. Find the chords in the key, and then try to find those chords in the song. You guys will definitely enjoy it. It'll make you a better musician and definitely give you some cool practice to work on during this week. Have a great day, guys, and we'll see you in the next episode of IkeGuitar.